Innecco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Well, today we're going to talk about the UK and the economy in particular. Yes, I've been warning for years, I think for about 5 years, about the collapse of the UK economy, even before the current government came into power. And it's not something that's just happening here, of course, but seeing that I live here, I wanted to focus on it. I have a playlist that I started in 2021, and it was right after COVID or during COVID. And one of the reasons I brought that up, that I thought we'd have an economic collapse, is that they ramped up the debt so much during that period from 2020 to 2021, 2022 by instituting QE and zero rates, basically. I could see that eventually it would all end in tears because the debt wall, insurmountable debt, is what really brings everything down in a fiat currency regime. And I also have a playlist about the debt in the UK because the debt has been growing so much. So they're both intertwined. But what I want to talk about today is also policy from the government, from economic policy from the current Labour government. And I'm not saying the previous government was any good. They weren't. They were in charge during the period where I started warning you guys. And they've been in charge since 2010 to 2024. But now there seems to be another blatant, deliberate policy to demolish the UK economy. It's like a controlled demolition they want to do. And you might think that's like conspiracy. You might agree with me. You might disagree with me, the reasons for that. I personally think, they want to eviscerate the country economically, socially, psychologically, so they can bring in this one world government, the globalists, and they can basically institute a draconian, authoritarian kind of government, which of course they're going to call it a democracy, right? They're going to have their excuses for the CBDC. CBDC is because they're going to blame the Russians for something, for the economic collapse, and they're going to say we have to do this, so on and so forth. And what I want to talk about today, though, is a story that I saw recently. It came out, let's see, last Saturday, 14th of February, Valentine's Day. And it came out in the Telegraph. I'm sure it came out elsewhere, but it says Starmer surrenders to EU net zero rules. Yes, the lifeblood of an economy is cheap energy in our current industrialized, supposedly industrialized advanced economies, but the Labour government is doing everything to make us dependent on foreigners for energy, even though we have the biggest, really huge reserves of gas and oil in the North Sea. Norway is using theirs. And I have to agree with President Trump on this. This is just a scam, this climate change, net zero, decarbonizing the economy. And I'm really I'm not shocked. These people are desperate, and they're really going after it now. So what does the article say? Well, it says dynamic. I like the way they use the word dynamic, right? Dynamic alignment of UK law with EU rules on promotion of renewable energy will require country to decarbonize rapidly. Well, decarbonize rapidly means that we'll have to demolish our economy and go back to the Middle Ages and live, not have all the amenities of a modern economy that we've had for many decades. So let's go through the article here, and then I'm going to talk about what we can do about it. I mean, the best that we can do as individuals. It says, Sir, they're still calling him Sir. Keir Starmer has drawn up plans under which the UK will ramp up its net zero targets and cede control over its energy policy as part of closer alignment with Brussels. So much for representative democracy, right? The British people voted, almost 10 years ago to leave the EU, and he's taking us back into the EU. A memorandum published by the Cabinet Office earlier this month spells out the price that the UK is willing to pay. Well, he's willing to pay. I don't think the British people are willing to pay for it, but let's continue anyway. To reset relations with Europe. This includes a dynamic alignment. I think it means more a loser alignment, not dynamic, of British law with EU rules on the promotion of renewable energy, which would require the UK to decarbonize not just electricity, but also heating and transport rapidly. In practice, this could see net zero targets doubled, potentially leading to draconian measures such as reducing meat consumption. That's outrageous. And restrictions on flying, wood fires, and driving. Well, and banks like NatWest, I have my account with them. They're keeping track of your carbon footprint. I told them I don't want to keep track of it. So yeah, I don't. But if I were to look into the function on my app, it will come up. So they're coming after you, and it's bad. But let's continue the article, and then I'm going to come up with what I think we should be doing as individuals. The Prime Minister stands accused of signing the UK up to a poison chalice deal, which will limit the ability of future governments to make decisions about the country's own energy investments. In a speech on Saturday, I'm not going to say Sir Keir, I'm going to just say, in a speech on Saturday, Keir Starmer said Britain must align itself more closely to the EU single market and called for deeper economic integration with the bloc. There are a lot of things that the Trump administration is doing that I don't agree with, but their overall, economic policy is preferable to the one in the EU and in the UK, even though I think you guys in the US are not immune to the coming inflationary storm. I think at least President Trump is trying to get things going again. I'm not sure if he'll succeed. I think he'll succeed, but it won't be an easy journey. You're going to have some big crises along the way. But in this country and in the EU, it seems like our politicians are not even trying. They hate humanity. They hate life. They hate prosperity. And this is what Starmer is doing. I'm going to stop right here. But what the article says, if they get this through, hopefully people will wake up and protest about this, and they might not be able to do it. But like they said, it's a poison chalice. If they get this through, it will be very hard, even for, let's say, a reform government to come and reverse all this, because it's to do with international law. It won't be domestic law. So, we've seen the last budget in the UK and the one previous to it. They're doing everything to destroy it. the private economy. They're doing everything to destroy family businesses, to destroy farms. And this is another nail